Oh, hello there. Welcome back. Today we're finally diving into acting and directing, the episode I know you've all been waiting for. Now, you might be wondering why it took me 4 episodes to get here. Well, like I said from the start, theater isn't just about acting. Plus, I had to give them time to learn their lines. Okay, that was great, but can we try angrier? More scared. You know what? Can we try one sad? Tears! Show me the tears, please. Come on, I know you can do it. Thanks. I said black. I can taste the sugar in this. Come on. Well, that's a pretty good glimpse into the passion behind directing a show. Now let's talk with the people who help channel all that creativity and hear how they bring a production to life. One snap at a time. Hi, thank you for being here with us today.
You're welcome.
Of course.
Can you each share a little bit about your journey into directing? Like what drew you to the role initially?
Well, I did my first directing way back in college, and I guess part of it was because I was inspired by the teacher that I had in high school who originally got me into acting, and so that seemed like a really cool thing that he was doing, so why didn't I want to try it? But I didn't do it past college in the sense of directing theater until I joined the Saint-Bruno Players in 2019. But prior to that, of course, I had a background as a television director, there's some correlation between those two jobs, but it's not necessarily the same thing.
What about you? What about you, Emily?
So for me, there was a play I really wanted to do, and nobody else was going to direct it. So if I didn't direct it, we weren't going to get to do that play. And then I liked it. That stuck.
There we go.
Yeah.
What was the play?
Oh, it was Weird Sisters.
Oh, Weird Sisters. That was the first one.
Technically, yeah. The first one I did by myself.
Okay, interesting.
It was great.
Well, speaking of by yourself and doubles, since we're going into that direction, Emily, what does the role of an assistant director look like compared to the main director?
So it may vary, but for me, it's more of a lieutenant role. My job is a lot more of the active stuff, so the director does a lot more of the planning, and the director does more of the hard work. The assistant director gets to be there at the practices, and I find that my role is to encourage the director's best impulses and restrain his worst ones.
You're specifically talking about me.
Yes, I am. But it's always good to have like more than one opinion on stuff, and because sometimes one person's going to get completely blocked, but the other person is going to be able to be like, oh, well, here's the obvious solution, and it works. So it's backup goalie.
And for you, Dave, from your perspective as let's call the main director of a piece, how indispensable is it to have an assistant?
Well, it depends upon the piece. In this particular case, the piece that we just did, What's in a Name, it was really valuable for me to have Emily because, as she says, we can all have bad impulses, and mine is very often leads towards having a real soft spot for sight gags. And so on a couple of occasions while we were putting together the piece, I would go up to her and say, I'm thinking of doing this, and she'd look at me going, and so I'd pull back. And other times I'd pull through and do it anyway, and then pull back or whatever. So it's really good to have a second set of eyes. Emily too is, I'll say this without blowing smoke. She's very, she's stronger than what I am when it comes to elements of stagecraft. She has a good eye for placing people when I sometimes may place them in an awkward position on the set, and she'll move it around and she'll fix it. And that's really great to have that skill set to complement my own skill set, which, whatever that may be.
Perfect. And having both acted on stage as well as directed, how's that influenced your directing approach and how you work with actors?
I'm very conscious of the fact that there's some things that actors don't like. For instance, actors in general do not like a director that just basically, no, say it like this type approach. So in as much that there are moments when you will do that invariably as a director. It's something to avoid as much as possible, and it requires a great deal of concentration and of thinking before you speak, because sometimes you have to phrase things as a metaphor to the actor, and you may just run dry as to what the metaphor is going to be, and you just want to say, "Oh, just say it like this," and that's not helpful to it. The actor ends up just feeling like a parrot, and you don't want to give them that feeling. That you want to give them the opportunity to draw their performance from themselves, and not because I'm just pulling the strings.
Physically as well, I think it's useful to know what things are just not comfortable. Like when you're blocking something, if I know, for instance, that chair is super deep and super soft, and it is going to take a while for my older actor or less physically fit actor to get up out of it, then maybe take that into account for the blocking, right? Not have a sight gag that involves somebody springing up from the chair. And knowing as well just physically how you would move if you're doing like if you're playing like somebody who's very old or infirm, or somebody who's nervous, right? Being able to use the experience I have to sort of like to demonstrate a little bit, be like, oh, okay, like when you were acting, we said, I think your character is a very restrained character. Put your feet together and stand like in a little constrained space. And I don't know if you actually kept that, but I think it was a useful cue.
Yeah, it's the kind of things that it helps you just to focus your character, and when a director can do that, or an assistant director can do that, it carries you a little bit further as an actor.
Sure.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, it helps that you've been in that position as well, right? It's not just like, oh, I've never done that, so like, I'm assuming you could do those things. No, I know what you could do because I've done it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that helps as well. Yeah. And what's something you each prioritize in your directing process that you think sets your work apart from other directors, or just even from each other?
I don't know about that sets me apart, but one thing that's really important for me is that my actors are comfortable. So, like, if we try something new, I'll ask. I won't say, how did you think that looked? I'll say, like, how did it feel? Because if it's not comfortable and it doesn't make sense for them, and it's especially dealing with a lot of our actors, their first language is not necessarily English. So some things are more possible if you have the natural cadences of English, and the line just might not work the same way with a different accent and a different cadence. So being able to comfortably speak something, being able to comfortably do something, I think is really important.
I guess I would add to that from my perspective, what makes it a good experience to work with me when I'm directing is that I don't draw a line that, hey, I'm the director and what I say is the way it goes. I'm always very open to what the actors bring to the table, to what props people bring up, to anybody who's at the rehearsal, if they have an idea. As long as they're respectful about it, I'm good with it. There's sometimes I do get to the point where I want to tell them to, but most of the time I'm pretty open to it, and I think that makes it a good experience for people. They feel that they're part of that creative process.
And do you think that building up that actor-director relationship is important, and it's like you could see it in the final production as well?
Absolutely.
Oh yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Well, for instance, one of the things that we did with What's in a Name was to just try to build a rapport amongst the actors. Even before we rehearsed, we brought them together for a dinner. I act as basically somebody who was serving them, and my partner was there as well. And it was just a thing of just creating a bond between the six of them, or the five of them, and me and my partner as well. So it's very important.
And I think for both of us, there's an emphasis on laughter.
Oh, God, yes.
You have to actually enjoy the rehearsals, because
Yeah.
if it gets to the point, like I think if it gets to the point where it's just painful and everything's like nothing is going right that night, rather than try and just like suffer through it, we're just like, okay, let's call it. And I think the best rehearsals that you have are the ones that get derailed for 10 minutes because somebody can't stop laughing.
And it seems to happen all the time now.
Yeah,
It's
which
really
is
great. Yeah.
it's very useful.
I've lived a few.
You know, I remember the scene in Glorious where you, David, and the rest of them were all lined up for the dog's funeral. It never, ever stopped making me laugh. And you guys at times were...
It's tragic. What are you talking about? A dog died, Dave.
That was hard. That was hard. And it's difficult also, as you know, from the actor's point of view, to try and not be laughing in those moments, because on stage you don't want to be breaking character, right?
Yeah.
So that's a challenge. I mean, like, let's just go a little bit sideline here, because speaking of laughing and stuff, you're very good at improvising.
I try.
Because like I'm thinking of as well during Glorious, I think there was a time where like you hit the table and
Oh gosh.
and stuff fell over, but you played it into your character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what else was I gonna do?
No, but I'm guessing from a director's point of view, you also welcome things like you know, just improv and a little bit if needed,
Yeah,
right?
obviously. What Emily is also extremely strong at as an actress is when a fellow actor on stage misses a line, she will find a very creative way to nudge them to the line or to move on to the next sequence without anybody knowing that it's happening. She's really on her feet and very fast, very quick.
No, but this
Make me blush, Dave.
You always look like you're blushing.
That's true. That's true.
No, but this kind of goes back also to the relationship between director and actor. You trust your actors to, you know, to be in control of the scene,
And you want them to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's also why we have rehearsals, right? We see if things work, if things don't work. And speaking of just plays in general, is there any particular play or scene that you've directed, whether it's this one or one in the past, that really challenged you or helped you grow as a director?
It was a short sequence within What's in a Name that is the character of Anna, played by Eve Posey, comes in late to this dinner party, and she's not aware of all of the dynamic that's been going on. And one of the hosts of the dinner party is upset regarding the naming of the child, but she thinks the child is going to be named something else, which is the truth of what they're going to actually name the child. And they had to create a ping pong back and forth where they would shout at each other, and it would have to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and get to a point where the one other actor would just go, "Stop!" And it took a while for them to get that rhythm of that. And those are things that, you know, they're very hard for me to explain other than to just kind of go, you need to go like this. Mm-hmm. And I'm listening for it, I'm watching it and saying, okay, now they're close. No, do it again. And then finally when they got it, I had them repeat it too many damn times because it entertained me so much. But that was a challenge. It was challenges to get, how do you get anger out without blowing your load in the first words that you say? How can you just be a little bit angry, a little bit more angry, a little It's fun. That was a lot of fun. Go ahead, you got one.
I mean, going back to Weird Sisters, that was just such a huge play. I think we had like 20 actors in it.
Right.
And they were all playing multiple roles, and it was just a lot of moving parts. And I absolutely screwed up a bunch of them, and I have learned so much from that. But it was a really good experience. Like, I think everybody really enjoyed it. And I think if I did it now, it would be even better, because I just, like I said, I screwed up a lot, and then I went, noted.
So that means we're teasing things for the future now, right?
I'd like to, yeah.
Emily back as a director.
Oh yeah, I'd like that very much.
Well, it's actually, it's funny too. Also, speaking about your, blowing out also on the first line, let's say, of your scene, you also have a bit of experience with that, because when you played in I think it was Self-Help, your character was very aggressive, very angry.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm going back to having acted. It kind of helps from the point of view as a director now as well, because you're like, I can't do that, so I don't want you to do that. I know you can do it. Yeah. Right.
The director in that actually helped me a great deal. I was not sure how to do it and how to, react in a certain scene, and I was going, no! And he came up to me and says, don't say no like that. Say no as if you're watching Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. The Canadians are ahead 4-4, or they're tied 4-3, and in the last 30 seconds of the last period, the other team scores, which is kind of like, no, and it was a focus for me.
Yeah.
Like I knew what he wanted at that point, and it made sense for me as well. And whenever I'd say the line, I'd think about, oh yeah, the damn Canadians.
It's just interesting because it's things that you could learn from a different perspective that you can also then bring to your up productions as well.
And what he did in that case is he didn't come up to me and say it like this. He gave me
a metaphor.
A metaphor or a scenario, how to repeat it. Yeah. How to do it. And it worked for me.
And is there any, like, what do you find personally fulfilling about directing?
I like working with somebody who's having trouble doing something and then seeing them get better at it. I find that just amazing, especially with community theater. You have people coming in who have never done this before in their lives, and they don't know what to do, and they're just like, I'm just going to stand here until you tell me what to do. And getting them the confidence to, to try things and to do things, and it doesn't always work, and that's fine. And but watching like somebody come off stage after their first ever performance, and they're just buzzing. It's just the best thing in the world.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with that scenario. There are times when you're talking to, you're trying to direct someone and they don't have a lot of experience, but then you find just that little way to word it for them, and suddenly their performance, both in the rehearsals and then finally on stage, just lights up. And that you feel, oh wow, that worked.
It's so great. And especially when they come back for a second show.
Yes.
You're like,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that worked. Yeah.
Imagine dad who just walks off after their first, like, worst experience ever, I'm not going back.
Well,
Quickly screaming into the night.
I've had one actress who decided she'd never want to do it again, but it was because it was the first play that she'd ever done, and she said, I can't believe how much work this is. And she said, I'm never doing it again. And she never did. But, that's for different reasons.
But again, they try something new. They challenge themselves. So, good for them for doing that.
Exactly.
And what are some of the challenges you can face during a production? And like, how do you work together to overcome them? Whether it's with your assistant or your rest of your production team.
There's so many challenges in every play. Sometimes it can be the props. Are they going to get something that looks at least somewhat real? And
Our props people are fantastic.
yeah, mostly.
They usually do.
They usually do make it work quite well. I think...
Because it could be from all aspects. It could be from props, it could be the sets. You could have disagreements on the sets as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, sometimes that's a key. I try to be quite involved with how the set is being put together. I don't necessarily build it. Sometimes I have gone to the dungeon to help paint and whatnot. But I find that there's always a little bit of I leave my trust in you. And then finally, the set is up at Marcel Delude, and you're taking a look at it and you're going, ooh, that looks good. Or you're going, ooh.
That's a choice.
Yeah, that's so good. And then sometimes I'm in one play, Glorious, there really wasn't much of a set designer, and I was doing it on my own, and I went, well, okay. So, yeah, I mean, the set is always a challenge, but this last one that we did was just no challenge at all. It turned out to be probably one of the nicest sets that we've done in a long time, and it just looked clean. It looked convincing that it was their apartment. It worked really well on all levels.
So for me, again, it's the fact that we're a community theater and we're dealing with people who have lives that's not the theater. Like with a professional, this is their job, this is what they are doing. You can guarantee that they will be available during these particular times. But we're a community theater. Some people go on vacation. Yeah. We don't have understudies. Like we've had at least one production where somebody had, like our main actor had a major health problem shortly before and had to be replaced very last minute, and that was
very tough.
Very tough, and I'm so proud of the way like everybody on that production worked together to make it work. But in a regular production, like a professional production, you'd have somebody who already knew the part ready to step in, which is a luxury that we don't often have in community theater. So yeah, I think it's just a lot of the challenging is the same challenge you get in most things, which is scheduling. Yeah. And trying to make sure that the people you need are available when you need them, and dealing with the people who aren't and planning around that. I think it's
Much better
Yeah.
answer than mine.
No,
No, well, they're both are good.
yours is
Both are
also
good.
good.
It's from
But
different points of view.
It's
so.
it's a hard-coded challenge rather than a variable challenge.
Well, that's okay. Both are still challenges regardless.
Yeah.
And how do you handle creative disagreements between either the two of you or other members of the production?
You know, there's always a middle ground to be found, and you know, at one point, you just always have to remind yourself, we're doing this for fun. We're not making money out of it. So, like, are you really gonna, like, you know, stamp your feet and say, I want it this way? Nah. You got to just put some water in your wine sometimes. Hopefully, we're both doing it to an equal degree, and it works out. But I've never had anything where it's just been that, you know, great divide between people. Certainly not with you, because I thought you and I worked very, very well.
Well, I was just going to say, you and I have the kind of relationship, we do occasionally have little blow-ups, but we're able to go to each other and be like, look, I was a jerk, and I'm so sorry. And then that's it, and it's done, and we move on, and it works out.
She was also stage manager. And
Oh, I snapped at you.
the worst thing that you can do as a director is just keep on directing once the show is at Marcel Delude. That being said, we have a disagreement as to when that moment should be. But one night, we were just doing this last play, she turns to me, she says, you're just lucky I let you in the door. And I went, oh, fuck.
I think I actually told you, you get tonight, and then after tonight, your job is to be like, wow, guys, that was a great job. And those are the words that get to come out of your mouth. And give him credit, he did.
Oh, there we go.
But I needed one night.
Yeah.
One day.
I needed one night to just...
That's fair. It's a compromise.
Exactly. I was like,
Is there any particular moment during a production that makes all the stress and hard work feel like really worth it to you?
Oh, sitting through the shows.
Yeah.
And it's clicking. Oh yeah, you just sit there and you beam, or when you know that there's a joke or whatever that they're going to do that just hits a home run in the audience, you're going, yeah.
So far I haven't had that experience because there hasn't been a play where I've been directing and not doing anything else. So I'm usually backstage or up doing lights or you know something. But yeah, backstage I love during the first show when the actors, like sometimes the last show they were on stage most of the time, but other shows they come off a bit and you get to see them being like, oh yeah, this is going great, this is fantastic, and you get to see them being really happy, and you get to like hear the people laughing. The first time somebody laughs in the audience, you're like, oh yes, good, thank you. That's always nice. Or if it's a drama, the first time someone goes, oh, because you can hear like little audible gasps from backstage. And like in this last one, so I could hear somebody go, oh, it's gonna be this, and then it was that, and the audience was like, yes, we got it right, and that was just, oh, it was so much fun.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
back to that dog sequence.
Yeah.
The dogs.
I think it was the second show that you guys did.
Yeah.
The music is playing, and they're just waiting for David to come on with the dog coffin. And there was somebody in the back said, not too loud, but loud enough for me to hear it. Oh, bet you it's the dog.
Yeah.
And then when the dog came out, they were roaring laughing because their suspicion was
That David's character
was confirmed, and yes, it was the dog. See, I told you.
Yeah, no, it's gratifying to get those audience reactions
Yes,
as a director. So you're like,
yeah, that's what
works.
I think you live for. You want to know that your cast is getting the kind of feedback that you hope that they would get. And at times, when you're rehearsing, you're saying, okay, pause there for a laugh, and you know sometimes they're looking at you going, okay, maybe. And then they say the line right, and they go, oh boy, yeah, I got to laugh. And then the next show, they're emphasizing it a little bit more. They're getting a bigger laugh. And the third show, they're going, yeah, that was a good funny line.
And it's always funny during the shows, the audience will laugh at things that you don't think are funny.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, they're laughing? Okay. Somebody just died. It's just like, it's always a surprise.
Audience is very too. Last audience that we had for What's in a Name, when they announced, or the character Vincent tells everybody what he's going to name the child, there was an audible gasp in the audience. It was, and oh yeah, wow, they're really getting the implication of this.
Yeah, it's so satisfying.
Yeah.
Because they always react differently, right?
Yeah, sometimes it just goes by. And then,
Sometimes you have like the very polite audience who are like, I mustn't make a sound, it will disturb the production, and you're like, make some noise, guys.
And then you got plays like the one you did with William Harvey, where when he takes his clothes off, everyone reacts to that for sure, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Oh yeah, then that's where we're doing the full Monty.
There we go.
And he was so willing to just go all out with it, which, you know, you can have somebody take on that role and then they'll do the striptease and it's kind of mamby-pamby, but he was like wiggling and going nuts. It was great.
And what's one directing lesson you learned the hard way, but that you'll never forget it? It could be during your you know, even from your other past experiences as well. There must have been a lot that you've learned.
I think it's more of a philosophical thing. Your opinion is not necessarily the right one. And go into the show and into rehearsals with that in mind, that it's just your opinion, other opinions are important. Yeah.
For me, it would be definitely ask for help.
Yeah.
I thought I screwed up during Weird Sisters, and the big thing I did was trying to do it by myself. Because there were so many moving parts, I could have really used an assistant director. And next time I do a play, I'm going to try really hard to have one. I might not need it because the next play I want to do is a small play, but I'd rather have somebody and not need them. Yeah, I think anticipate that you are not quite going to be enough, because it's better to have too much.
And it's okay to have help, right?
Yeah.
It's okay.
For sure.
Yeah,
Nothing
it's
wrong with
better.
having an expert
It's more fun.
Oh no, it's worth it. One last thing I'd say on that note, and it dovetails into what Emily said about, you know, your one job going forward now is to just say, good job everybody, nice show. Never go in and critique a live show. No. I never did it, but I had it done to me once, and I was just completely deflated. So it was watching that person do that to me that became the lesson. Never do that.
Yeah. Positive reinforcement.
Yeah, always positive.
Especially during shows.
Here are the things you are doing well, more of that.
Yeah.
And if they do enough more of that, it will crowd out the less of that stuff because there won't be room.
Yeah.
And that works really well.
All right, well, perfect. Well, thank you very much for being here with me.
Oh, well, thanks for having us.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Again, but now more scared. To be or not to be, oh, the dread. Now, sadness, and really sell it. To be or not to be, that is the question. Actually, forget that. Just do it like you did it the first time. To be or not to be, that is the question. Perfect! Perfect! Sometimes the simplest approach is the best, even if it takes a few detours to get there. Now let's hear from some actors who've mastered the art of turning all those director twists into unforgettable performances. Well, first of all, thank you, both of you, for being here with me today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for inviting us.
We're going to talk about acting, because you both have acted and done a variety of different roles with community theater, but we're going to speak about acting today. What initially sparked your passion for acting, and what keeps that fire alive today?
I think for me, I grew up, I didn't see a lot of theater when I was younger, but I watched tons of movies. And I always sort of would place myself in the role of, you know, the characters in the movies. But I didn't have the courage to actually audition for anything when I was like, when they were doing stuff in high school, for example, because I was afraid of failing. It was only, I only started acting when I was 60 with the Park Players. And then this is what I wanted to do. And I enjoyed working with the people. I made a lot of good friends over the years. And and with St. Bruno, I made another group of really good friends. And I think it's the friendship and the camaraderie of being, like, the one thing I learned about acting is that it's a team sport. You're not alone. You're not just playing your character. You're with a group of people whose job it is to portray the vision of the playwright and the director. And that's a big lesson.
What about you, Danny?
Me, it was a thrill of it all.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. And I love the adrenaline rush that it gives me from playing.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the biggest things is, I don't know, it lets me, let the kid in me go out and just, you know, when you're a kid and you pretend to be another character and you have your imaginary friends and you can just let loose and have fun. And that's what keeps me going back, is just that I can let loose and have fun.
Yeah, because it is fun. I mean, we've acted together as well. It is fun to be on stage, and it's liberating, right, in a sense.
Yes, it is.
And you've both been on stage quite a few times. Has your approach to acting evolved over the different plays that you've done?
Mine has evolved
Yeah.
a lot, because I started younger in theater than David did, and I won't tell you how many years I've been doing it. But me, now where I'm at, it's more like an emotional approach. It's like I go into my gut and try to really portray that feeling or something, whilst as when I was starting off, it was more just doing the facial expressions with the words. So it's more an emotionally driven, I guess you can say.
For me, I think the thing that's changed the most dramatically is my preparation.
Okay.
I do a lot more preparation than I used to do when I first started.
But to get into character, right?
Generally, I would have an idea for the character when I auditioned, because that's when, like, the research, as soon as you decide you're going for an audition, you start to prepare how you're going to portray that character. And there's that preparation. I didn't do much of that. Now I do. Just in terms of what's important in this character that you realize that you're going to have to emphasize in a variety of ways.
Well, you're mentioning a bit of the work and getting into the mindset of the character. What's your both of yours approaches to getting into the mindset? Like, what are some of the exercises you rely on, or like what does your preparation look like?
Well, one of the things that I learned in the Park Players was, if you want to know a character, find out what the playwright describes. How does the playwright describe your character? What do the other characters say about your character? What does your character say about your character? And then you start to form a real idea of who this person is, what their motives are. And that's the first step. And then the other thing that's changed a lot since I started was I really try and be off book, as they say, know my lines as soon as possible. And generally what I do is I take the dialogue that's the most difficult and get that down. And that's not how I started. And I wish I had done that. And I'm still changing. I'm still learning that there are different and more efficient ways of using your time to get to know your character and to portray that character.
Of course, because I mean, and maybe you could chip in here. It's also building kind of a bit of a mental relationship with your character as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. I read the play 3-4 times, and then I study the character. I analyze the character. I look like okay, why is he saying that? Or, okay, his rapport with the other characters in the play and their rapport with whatever character I would be playing. And a lot, like David said, like read the description that the author has put down, what he sees as a character, but then also rely on your director.
Yeah.
Because your director doesn't always quite, he adds little...
Nuances and stuff.
Yeah.
Which the actor can add as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, with the director's guidance and approval. Yeah, absolutely.
And, how important is stage presence in your performances? Like, how do you cultivate that?
Stage presence is critical. It's crucial. Like, you have to have stage presence. You have to be there to make other people believe in what you're saying and what you're doing, and yeah, it's key. And how do you cultivate that? Experience.
Well, I got some good advice from Cindy Pownall. You
Yeah,
know Cindy?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't remember which play we were doing, but I walked on stage. This was in rehearsal. I walked on stage, and a little bit later, when I was off stage, Cindy comes up to me and said, "You didn't really have any confidence in where you were going, did you?" And to me, that's lesson number one. If you're moving somewhere, you have to know why you're going there, and you have to move there with a certain confidence. To me, that's how you start to get stage presence in your facial expression, in how you walk, in how you move to where you're going. Why should I be there? What am I doing there? What's my goal there? And that's the first steps. And it's in your facial expressions. It's in your body language, how you move in relation to the other characters.
I think a lot of the stage presence is also listening.
Yes,
Listening to the
yes.
other characters, listening to what's going on around you, and taking part in it, actively taking part in what's going on.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is too is when it comes to lines, it's not just, you don't have to know your lines. You gotta know what everyone else's lines too, because the other one's lines are where your cues are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
listening is also, like you just said, very, very important as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you mentioned both body language. It's a very big role. It takes a very big role in acting. How do you use physicality to bring your characters to life?
Well, it's important. It portrays the character's age, his physical, abilities or disabilities. Like, if he has a limp or a broken arm, or, his emotions towards another character, or even his emotions in response to what another character is going to say. So physical presence,
Physicality.
That's the word. That's the word. Is really important. What about you?
I agree with you. I think that that all of that is true. It's and when you bring up the point of you get your cues from what you're fed your lines by what the other cast members say. But it's not just the last line that they say.
No.
It's what are they saying that, and this is where listening comes in. You have to you have to bodily react, even though you don't have any lines, to what they're saying about you. If something's ticking your character off, you have to have a way of showing that. If something...
If it's a gut punch, you got to show that you got that gut punch,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because it also could help build up your reaction to a later line that you'll have as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which if you're not reacting, then it's like, oh, well, where did that come from? You know?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much of yourself do you bring to your characters? Or do you prefer roles that challenge you to stretch your comfort zone? Or do you like playing characters that tend to feel more closer to you?
I don't. I mean, the advantage of acting is that you're not you. To me, you're not you. You're being somebody else. You're portraying accurately somebody else. You can't impose yourself into the character unless it's something that you've seen in yourself that you can portray accurately in the character's persona. If you can't do that, if it's simply just turning into you, then you're kind of, to me, you're not acting. I've used people that I know as a model for how I see this character. I remember doing a play, Come Blow Your Horn, which is a Neil Simon play, and I played the dad of the main character, and that was my dad. He was my dad. Like, there were so many things about what the character said and how he behaved that was my dad. So I used my dad, but that's still acting, because it's not.
You're not yourself.
It's not my ego imposing something on what the character would not have.
Because I know some people do like playing roles close to themselves, because to them it's easy, right?
And I mean, I, of course, try to keep my personal me out of the character as much as possible. Like I said earlier, it's using your imagination, like when you were a kid, you know, being somebody else.
Yes.
But, I mean, it's fun to be able to challenge yourself also with some of the more difficult roles, because it's a heck of an accomplishment. You really feel good when you've tackled something that's really outside of your comfort zone and you've given let's say, a good performance, you know? I mean, that's, as like we say in French, valorisant. So, like, I mean, you know, but then on the other hand, it's really fun every once in a while to have an easy role there, somebody who looks like me, so I don't have to do a lot of research and I can just have fun, you know?
But I see what you mean. Like, it's gratifying to yourself.
That's the word I was looking for.
When you feel like you gave a good performance, right?
Yes.
'Cause the artist is one thing, the director is one thing, but it's yourself.
Absolutely.
If you don't feel like you were satisfied with what you did, even if everyone else is, it's not gonna get you there, right?
Exactly.
You have to be proud of what you did.
Yeah.
Or confident in what you did. And also, well, speaking of, having been on stage with both of you, I know how committed you both are to your roles, but I'm curious, what do you think makes a great scene partner?
Someone who comes prepared, someone who's convinced of what they're doing, someone who learns their lines, and someone who's on time and who's ready to take direction from the director and to have fun, someone who wants to have fun, you know, and who wants to repeat that same fun they had at rehearsal on stage and not get on stage and do something completely different, because that could be throws off your character and the others around them, you know. But just to have fun and be prepared, and you know. That's a good answer. I can't top that answer. There's no way.
Well, it's a good thing, because my next question is for you specifically. You have a very unique way of using props and pantomime in your performances. I think maybe you've probably noticed it as well. How did that develop? Is that something that you've always been drawn to, or is it something that you've learned?
The answer is yes to both. I mean, I've always been drawn, like physical comedy has always attracted me. I mean, I watched the Three Stooges. When I was a kid, I watched the Marx Brothers. I watched all of these people that put a lot into physical comedy. So the use of props, I mean, just looking at something and finding a different use for it that would be amusing. I love that. And we did one.
We did.
So that gives me a lot of joy. I love getting a laugh. So if I can do something in terms of my body language or my stage presence or just, in this case, the one that we did is that we needed to buy time for a costume change for our star performer. So we needed 3 minutes, and we just made it up, and it was wonderful. It was a great moment.
Well, so I'll even go further and take it when we did the murder mystery together. you directed that one,
Yeah.
but you also were the masked killer because
Yes.
you needed to trick the audience, the audience into
Yeah.
not knowing who it was.
Yeah.
But that was all just physical.
Yeah.
There was no vocal acting in that involved, but you made all those movements, all those,
And
like
that's,
the swings and all that stuff.
that was just fun. It really was.
But it's not something that every actor can do because you were present without saying any words, and some actors find that difficult. I mean, it comes with experience, grant you, but I mean, chapeau to you because that was
Thank you.
well done.
That's why I'm pointing it out because I couldn't have him on the show and not
Without
mention it, so.
mentioning, yeah, absolutely,
It's worth mentioning.
absolutely.
Especially for someone who came into the, let's say, call it the acting world later in life. That's something that you clearly had with you all the time without necessarily knowing you had it, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I loved joking around. I mean, it's like making people laugh is one of the great joys of my life.
Well, speaking about, also comedy, which that's very nice what you said. Just want to know that. Comedy is very unpredictable. It can be unpredictable, especially when the audience is really into it. How do you manage to keep it together without breaking character?
Well,
I think the third play that I did, basically it was somebody, no one else wanted to do it. This was for the Park Players. And basically my character, I had maybe a couple of 6 lines, not pages, 6 lines, and I had to be in a coma for most of the time, lying on a bed with my eyes closed, and what my fellow cast members were doing was I could only hear. And one time, my character, I had to wear a skin cap and a toupee. And at one point, one of the characters had to rip off the toupee. Don't ask me why, it was a long time ago. And then all of a sudden, they rip off the toupee, and this was a dress rehearsal. We had a lot of people in the room, and they just screamed with laughter. I had no idea what was going on. So I was shaking. You could see me shaking on the bed table. And I thought, I can't go back there and do that. So I got these little pins that I kept down because you couldn't see my hands. And when I felt that I was starting to lose it, I just jammed it into my thigh.
ouch, ouch.
I've since become a bit more sophisticated and more controlled than that. But that's what saved me
Yeah.
the first time.
So when I was asking you the question, you should have had your pins ready.
Yeah.
How about you? How do you deal with laughter, trying not to laugh on stage?
Well, I mean, it's all about concentration, right? I mean, you have to concentrate, be present in the scene, with your fellow actors. And you know what? I can't count the times that I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing, because there are times where it's just so hilarious,
So for all you guys wondering, pain is a good trick to manage laughing.
Yeah.
Well, I also remember, I know trying getting some of those laughs out during rehearsals helps too, right? Because I remember a scene we did in Glorious.
Glorious.
And that during rehearsal we could not stop laughing.
That's right.
But when we came to the stage, we can't do that.
We couldn't even look at each other.
No, we could not for a couple of rehearsals. So I guess part of it is also finding some of those comedic moments before you get on stage to try and get those out, so that the joke gets old to you.
Yeah,
So-
sometimes it does, because you've repeated it so often that it gets to a point where it's not that funny. But then when you're in the moment and you've got your costume and everything and everybody's all around you, and just the way it's said that one day, it doesn't matter. It's as if you had never heard it before, and it's a cheek biting moment.
And now to go back into the seriousness of this, as an actor, do you prefer working with a larger ensemble or more an intimate cast? What are the pros and cons of, for each of you? We'll start with you, if you want.
Well, for me, I don't know if I have a preference. they're both very different because usually it's a different setting, a different time to tell a different type of story, you know? I mean, on a small cast, yeah, you have that more intimate rapport with, you know, your fellow actors. But with a large cast, sometimes you get to do more complex scenes or something that you don't necessarily do if you're only 3 people. I mean, it's hard to have a war scene, you know, with 3 people. So I don't think I have a preference, really. But it's just as fun working with 12 people and have 12 different points of views and 12 different things coming at you and throwing them out as it is with 2 or 3 people.
So you same thing?
I agree. I think that essentially, whether the cast is 9 or whether the cast is 4 doesn't matter when you're going for the part. I mean, the origin of your interest in the play is, I want to be that character. Maybe there's a few more details that you have to remember with the larger cast. However, that's not necessarily the case. I mean, there are surprises with plays with a small cast that make you think a bit differently about how complex I mean, you can have very complex plays with only 4 characters.
Perfect. And what role or performance that you've done has been your favorite? And like, why does that stand out? Why would that specific role stand out to you?
I can tell you, oh man, I've done one play, and I did it years and years ago, and it was a French play. It was a real badass daughter. She kills her mother, but it's a mercy killing.
Okay.
And all through the play, she will not admit that it was a mercy killing. Okay, she got caught, and she killed her mother, and that's it. But the play was so well written. It was just really got you right. Oh, it was really something. That's one role that I'll never forget.
Beautiful. And what about you, David?
My favorite character so far was Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. And I wanted to be Scrooge so badly that I actually got the novella and wrote the screenplay so I could insist on being Scrooge. and that was very rewarding. I mean, there are other plays that I would like to do that I think I would get as much pleasure out of being Scrooge. We're talking about our favorite characters were bad guys, for crying out loud.
Well, hey, outside Mullingar,
we were
half and half.
Yeah, that's true.
Was there ever a particular moment in a play that really stuck with you? Maybe a scene that just clicked with you guys emotionally?
Well, the play that we did together outside Mullingar, for which this lady has been nominated for an Harlequin Award by the Fédération Québécoise Théâtre Amateur.
Congratulations.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
But I remember that my character had to do a very intense and emotional scene with my son, and that just the idea of that drew out sort of some intense emotions, and I think that was it was difficult, but it was rewarding at the same time.
I think I heard people sniffling when that, and that's in the audience.
Well, I was one of them.
grab the needle again and focus on the advice. I'm crying.
You can't do that with sadness. No, it doesn't work.
Want me to bring tears out, right? How about you? Is there anything that you've done that marked you emotionally as well?
There were several plays, but going back to that one play that really struck home, when she finally admits that it was a mercy killing and she really did love her mother, I mean, I think personally for me, that's the only play that when I leave the stage at night, I would sit in my car and cry like a baby, and I'd never done that for any, and that character just came and just got me. Oh boy.
But see that kind of makes it part of the fact that it's gratifying as an actor to be able to play those characters and bring them to life, right?
Yeah.
You have a sense of, wow, like I made myself emotional.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
So
very emotional.
That's wow. That's mind blowing. Has your time on stage affected your life off stage in unexpected ways? Any lessons or personal growth from acting that you could bring into your personal life as well?
Well, the thing is that when you accept a role and when you're going to be in a play, and there are tons of people on stage and off stage whose all the work is going towards you showing up and doing what you're going to do. That's a hard commitment. You can't get out of it. It's not unexpected. It is expected. Mm. And you have to commit so many hours for rehearsal. You have to show up, as Danny said, show up on time, know your lines, be prepared. And we're not always prepared, but you have to be there. You have to show yourself that you're committed to this project every bit as much as everybody else is. But in terms of unexpected, I can't think of anything that was unexpected. You know what you have to do after a few plays under your belt. You know what's expected, you do it, and there's no getting out of it.
I've learned acceptance, to accept people more for who they are and where they are in life, because at my age, I've worked with the younger actors who could have been my grandkids, and I've worked with older characters also. And you just have to accept that person for who they are, where they are in life and everything, and respect. Yeah. That's the one big thing that I've learned, is to respect. I mean, you always have a certain amount of respect. You were taught that as a child. But, to really respect the other person's wishes and feelings, and that's really what really changed for me in my personal life. Great life lessons we've learned. Yeah.
We've spoken about this a little bit before as well, but for those unfamiliar with acting, who've never done it before, what's one of the most rewarding aspects of being on stage on opening night?
I think that for me, the greatest reward is more than applause. It's getting the laugh, because a laugh is involuntary. It comes out of people. It helps to have other people laughing with you because you're more inclined to do it. But it's to get that sort of feedback that tells you, okay, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. Keep going. Keep going. I think that's the most rewarding. And the other thing that I found really rewarding is that I've done a number of plays that involved accents. Irish accents, British accent, New York accent, Southern accent. And it's having come up to you at the end saying, "Are you from England? Are you really British?" And I thought, that's the best compliment you can ever get. That makes it worthwhile.
You've done that as well.
Yes.
You've been pretty good with accents too.
Yes. I've done the Irish accent where people would come to me and ask me, if I had any Irish blood or whatever. And I'm French, Canadian, Quebecoise, pure laine, so no, Irish accents are not in my wheelhouse normally. But like David said, making the people believe in what you're doing, having them join in this imaginary world and believe that it's really happening, that for me is gratifying in itself.
It's amazing. It's been really nice to hear you guys talk about your acting and your experiences. So thank you very much for accepting to talk with me today.
Well, thank you.
Directing and acting, two sides of the same coin that bring stories to life on stage. Whether it's the director's vision or the actor's passion, it's all about collaboration and creativity. Thanks for joining me once again, and I hope this episode was everything you hoped for. See you next time.